struggle for it? Are you willing to change and do what you must, or are you willing to die to what you want to get it? What are you willing to pay?
This camp is tremendous. The hands-on, the low coach-to-student ratio was tremendous, and these kids are actually learning how to correct mistakes and how to improve instead of just getting out and throwing balls. I'm very impressed with Darren Slack and his staff. I think, first of all, the off-the-field stuff, the manhood, the leadership, the thoughts of being a quarterback and what it takes to be successful as a quarterback, being a servant and serving your teammates. Darren does a great job conveying that message, and that's the most important aspect of being a quarterback. And then down to the technical skills of throwing the football and defensive recognition and understanding the weaknesses in those coverages and in those fronts is tremendous. So I think it covers everything from A to Z.
Well, with Slack, you learn a new terminology such as getting to zero and wrist fire, and these are things that basically it's the physics of throwing a football versus just throwing a football. It's not about the reps. It's a learning process they go through, and that's why we're here. I've noticed it with my older son Brady. This is his second camp, and we have the DVDs, and it's changed our whole way of thinking about playing quarterback. And my youngest son, who was a sixth grader last year, went to a camp last summer, and it totally changed. He couldn't throw a football 5 yards, and now he's, for sixth graders, they probably completed half their touchdown passes were throwing touchdowns. So it's changed our whole way of thinking about playing quarterback.
The thing that I feel that this camp does that the other camps we've been to does not is it break it down in such a easy way for a kid, especially my kid's age who's 12, to understand. Breaks it down in bite-sized pieces, so to speak, where a kid can break it down for themselves at home. But also understanding the game, not just about throwing, footwork, handing the ball off, and more important than that to me as a dad, being a team player and learning about becoming a man.
Best camp that he's been to. I think it's been a great camp. I know the first day he came back, he couldn't wait to come to the second day, and he's enjoyed it. He's learned a lot about his footwork, how to hold the ball, how to throw it, and he's learned, I think probably most importantly, what he's got to work on. And that's something I don't think he ever would have got learning from his school. So it's been a great camp, and we look forward to coming back to some others.
In the few camps he's been to, he's basically improved years and years above the normal pace. So it's a time compression is what I see.
Not only James, but I've had a lot of my guys that have been to different camps, and a lot of quarterback camps, it's repetitions, but here it got broke down how to throw the ball, and I think that's really the big difference is the technique that you learn in a Darren Slack camp. I think that James learned about staying at zero and how to throw a consistent ball accurately and to understand the mechanics and how to correct his mechanics if they're wrong, and I think that's the greatest thing he learned.
I think he's learning to find that elbow with zero and to get his weight, to wait on his weight and get out there. Those are the two critical things that I think he has learned and will continue to work on. This is more about being a total quarterback. It's the complete package, if you will, with as far as the mechanics, but not just the mechanics, but it's the leadership, it's the being the leader on the team, serving others, and so it's just a well-rounded camp.
You got to be willing to do what others are not. He's on his way to big-time football, and he's here learning. He's willing to come back and submit himself to the process. Guys, know what you got to be doing and why. Learn. You've got to know it all. You got to be the guy in the back going, I know the answer. When it's cold and nobody cares. King, you got to know. When the left guard forgets the snap count, forgets what he's doing, forgets his name, you got to know. You got to know we're doing it in cover 2 in the middle of a freaking rainstorm in the middle of November. Do you understand? You learn everything you can. And you know it better than everybody else. That's what makes you great. Because people can rely on you, Locke. Because you're the dependable guy. You know what's going on. Be that kind of player. Respond, lead, be a thermostat, not a thermometer.